It is cold, man. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am finally back on my Agusta rush. Woo! It is so cold out here, but we are at least back in California. I was in Vegas for the past weekend. I was invited by DJI for some exclusive event that I can't really talk about, so that's all you guys need to know. And of course, it's Vegas. I ended up staying there and having fun because it's Vegas, you know. But yeah, Vegas is way colder than California, man. It's pretty insane how cold it is. It's like a good 20 degrees colder. It was like 40 degrees average, and I feel like over here it's about like 60 degrees, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm still pretty cold right now, even though it's like what, around 60 degrees. Just been a while since I've been back on the bike, you know, get the full wind, especially with this hyper naked. Look at this beautiful sunset. But yeah, we're taking the rush back out. I probably needed to check that tire pressure, but it's all good. We're not doing anything crazy with her. We are going to meet up with a couple friends, and yeah, just figured I'd take this bike out since you guys want to see her. Maybe do a little short ride as well. Back on the Agusta rush. Now let's address a couple things we've talked about. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm surprised you still have it, blah blah blah, because I did talk many times about potentially selling this thing, as well as maybe my Fireblade for, you know, another crazy hyper bike, like for example the Xtrenta or a Tezzy H2 or something like that. Oh man, I changed my shifter. If you guys remember, this thing is GP shift, but when you do GP shift you don't have the auto blipper, but I messed around with the shifter a little bit. We have an adapter on this thing that I thought the Super Veloce needed to switch her to GP shift, so we took the adapter from here when we were going to Agusta LA to install on the Super Veloce, since obviously I'd be riding that bike a lot more. But then discovered that they actually, Agusta did a great job, and they updated their shifter thingy, the adapter, and so you can switch it to GP shift without actually having to get a separate adapter for it. This thing is so obnoxious, man. I'm starting to question if this is louder or as loud as the Super Veloce. It's been a while since I rode the Super Veloce, but yeah, this thing is very much obnoxious. But I think a big part of it is because of the location of that exhaust. The exhaust is literally right here, which is the closest to me. Oh, what? How did I go into neutral? That was really weird. I didn't even touch the shifter. But yeah, it's the closest exhaust location to kind of my head, I guess, from any other bike that I have. All the other bikes are usually like a lower mount or the Super Veloce, which is behind you, which technically would sound the quietest just based on the location of the exhaust, but this is like right by your ear, so it's absolutely insane. Yeah. What's up, man? Thank you. How are you doing? Hello. Nice seeing you too. Great, thank you. Yeah, definitely needs some tire pressure. She's been sitting for a while. I feel it. Yeah.
We broke down here today. Not broke down, but we headed this way. Wind's calm in LA.
Mm-hmm.
About halfway here on the interstate. I mean, I can handle the wind, but she's little, so she's just bike's just moving.
Yeah. No, it's a little chilly. It's a little windy, that's for sure. I just got back from Vegas, so we're low-key blessed. Over there, it's like 20 degrees colder. It's like 45 degrees right now. Yeah, dude, it's cold, and it's not like we have some humidity here. I don't feel it. It's not like very humid, but it's not like dry like Vegas. So over there, like, you really feel it in your bones. I was like, dude, I'm not even riding and I'm like struggling, you know what I mean? So I can't even imagine riding when it's like windy, dry, and super cold. At nights, it gets down to like 30 degrees flat. Yeah, chill ride. That's what I brought this. It is gonna be a chill ride. No, man, and this thing, like I said, it definitely needs tire pressure, to say the least.
I'm about to try and get R1M.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out which one. Like in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna try and
Yeah.
buy one. I'm really
Bike shopping.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. But what do you mean? Bike shopping is always the most fun. I love going bike shopping. Even, dude, before, before I even got into motorcycles, I used to go to like dealerships and be like, bikes, so many fun toys. And I'm like, I would want this or I would want that. I literally remember my first time seeing an R1M because at the time they were so rare. I feel like when I started getting a lot of these exclusive bikes, it started to become more of a trend, which I like. You get to see and appreciate them a little bit more. Plus, with what I do, I feel like I'm in places where these bikes are a lot more in now. Go to places that these bikes show up to. But I remember literally my first time at a dealership. And I was just there, and they're like pulling in a brand new R1M, and I'm like, oh my god, I've never seen one, and it looked so good, and I was like, LA is rough. But that being said, my Super Duke was like probably my favorite bike to ride in LA because I rode it all the way from Santa Monica to Malibu, all the way to like the hills, like by Hollywood Hills through the city. So, and I've done like a lot of riding in LA, and the Super Duke was probably my favorite. It's just very upright. Since it's a naked, like higher up bike, it's a lot easier to kind of maneuver than some of these like longer base super bikes. So it was just like so much easier, and it's such a smooth bike. A lot of people are like saying it's crazy torquey, but in comparison to like the H2, some of the other crazy bikes I have, the Super Duke was just awesome. Yeah, and I sold it for a steal too. I know. It was a really good deal. That's the problem. Like the only is there's not many people that are looking for the Super Dukes. It was like the top model, the R Evo, and I bought it for what? Like I think 25-ish out the door, brand new, and then spent easily, literally at the dealership from KTM, because KTM makes a lot of like their parts OEM. So I spent probably like $4,000 at the spot, like a bunch of carbon and stuff like that. Besides all that, so it had probably another $6-7 total. So literally it was like over 30K, and I sold it for what, like 17, I think, or something like that. Dude, it was a steal of a bike. Like if I was looking for one at the time and I found that, I would have been like, hell yeah. There's not a big kind of market for the KTMs, which I understand. For 17K, even the good deal that I sold it for, you can technically get an R1 for, like a really clean, almost brand new R1 for. So I understand, why. You gotta really want it to buy like that bike. It's kind of like Gustas. Like most people are like, this is $50,000. Like you can get so much for 50. Like a V4R is cheaper. So like that's a crazy thing. You gotta have someone that is really into this to actually be down to spend that money for it. Huh? Yeah. It's the same engine. It's the same engine, just the exhaust setup is so different that this SV and this sound, and plus this has the OEM headers. Yeah. So the other one, still has the full system now.
Angel was out. He had the Nürburgring out.
Huh?
Angel was out.
Oh yeah.
Had the Nürburgring.
Yeah. It's pretty much, it's a very similar setup to this, but not really. It's a single and it's a full tie, one piece. So yeah, they all sound kind of different, but kind of the same. All right, we good? Yeah, dude, my schedule has been full on nocturnal mode, because I literally, in Vegas, I've been going to sleep when the sun comes up. Even before Vegas, I've been editing a lot of videos for you guys, because of all these trips, everything is kind of like last minute and all. So I had to like stay up, like even before Vegas, I was up until like 8 in the morning editing a couple of videos for you guys. The R1M videos that you guys, if you missed, go check them out. Yeah, so I've been sleeping at literally like when the sun comes up, and I wake up at like way afternoon. Usually I try to wake up at noon, but I'm not getting enough sleep and not much sunlight either. We'll hopefully fix the sleeping schedule soon. Yeah, the tires are like super cold. Everything is cold, and I feel like just the low tire pressure, I feel it literally just from sitting on the bike. Yeah, my shifter is also all wacky. Need to do a couple things. I usually would do the tire pressure before I leave, but because it's, as you guys see, like the sun is going down pretty fast, I was like, alright, we'll run her with like track setup tire pressure. It's okay, just gonna be a chill ride. My first kind of ride back on the rush. Give her a couple spins, maybe take her to an event, maybe. And then she'll probably end up in the back of the garage again because, like I said, I have the Super Veloce, which I'm not gonna lie, I love this thing, but I way rather ride the Super Veloce. Just like, it's more my style, like I've been saying, because it's a super bike, not a naked bike. Even though this is a hyper naked, but still. And, in my opinion, the most beautiful naked bike made. Yeah, another thing that the Super Veloce is definitely smoother than this thing. It is freezing over here, man. It's been a while since I've ridden a naked bike. The wind, the way it hits you is actually a lot more just intense. I think one of the last times was actually the Brutale RR, if you guys remember, from Ambiagusa, the black one. Really sick bike. They all share the same engine, but then we gave the Brutale RR back for the Super Veloce. Quite the upgrade. Oh, there, coming in hot. Oh man, I like to take this turn a little fast, but I don't see them. The pops on this thing, so aggressive. Oh yeah, I was talking about, let's talk about me getting rid of the rush before I pulled up to meet up with them. And the main thing is, like I was saying, I feel like I just don't ride this bike a lot. And even though some people say like, oh, I'm a collector, blah blah blah, I actually ride my bikes. And because, you know, I feel like it's a bike similar to the Aprilia, similar to the KTM, because I didn't ride them as much, they're not as exclusive as rare, so that's a different story with those. I decided to switch them out to some of the other bikes. This bike, you know, has to have multiple reasons. For example, like this bike is a bike that I don't ride as much anymore, simply because I feel like a better version, which is the Super Veloce. Not necessarily better, but like, you know, better for me. It is a higher end model, obviously, but you know, this is even more rare than Super Veloce technically. 300 of these are made and 500 of the Super Veloces were made. But it's just the fact that this bike just not used enough, and I don't have as much of a purpose for it beside the fact that it's a really sick bike and it looks really pretty. For example, the HV4 Race is kind of like a halo bike. That's why I feel like it's more like, this is definitely a collector's bike, but the HV4 Race is like very, very iconic. Like you never ever see one of those. Technically, we've only seen one of those once ever, which was all the way in Monterey for Car Week, which is also a very huge event. So since you know, that event was so big, like I feel like it's not as crazy to see a very exclusive bike like this. But besides that, I've never even seen one of those. So, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, this and the HV4s are both insanely rare. Yeah, the reality of this thing is that this is a really sick bike, but it also costs a lot of money, and therefore what I was thinking about is that maybe, you know, I do love the Aprilias and I do miss them. I do love the Aprilias. I think they're still one of the best sounding motorcycles on the market. I don't know, they're really cool, sick bikes. So obviously if I want a very crazy Aprilia, because I feel like the craziest Aprilia, but it still wasn't like limited or crazy enough, which is why I'm looking at the Extrenta, because that bike is just so beautiful. Maybe I'll pop another picture right here, just because, come on, you can't tell me that bike isn't like absolute masterpiece. The color on it is sick, you know. Usually I like, obviously my favorite color is black, pretty much sound black, but that I mean purple is so sick on that bike. It's like a dark purple and all that, so absolutely just a beautiful machine. And you know, 230 horsepower, like stats are similar to pretty much to the Superleggera. Obviously it's close to the Superleggera price as well, so that's why to make room for the garage, I'd have to get rid of a bike or two, because right now, to be honest, 9 bikes in the garage is a little too crowded. It's almost like uncomfortable for me to like move stuff around and all that. One bike too much. Perfect number would be 7, which is what we had before I got the Super Veloce and the HP4 race. But I'd be very happy with, you know, 8, where I don't have to move as much and it's not as crammed in there if I want to do work on the bikes or anything like that. That's the main thing. Right now with 9 bikes in the garage, I literally can't even do any work on any of the bikes. It's just like super hard because of how crazy everything is, you know? Just extremely packed, and I can barely like move around in there, let alone do work on the bikes. So that's why I was like, you know, maybe since the X-Strength is so expensive, sell this, possibly sell the Fireblade as well, and get the X-Strength. That's not going to be happening anytime soon unless, you know, I come across a really crazy deal on the X-Strength and I have to. But it's just an idea of maybe what's coming next, or maybe even a Tizzy H2. The Tizzy H2s are cheaper, so if I get the Tizzy H2, then maybe I'll just get rid of the Rush and keep the Fireblade. And by the way, for all the Fireblade fans, I love the Fireblade, and when I get rid of the Fireblade, I'll definitely be getting another one when I upgrade and have a bigger garage. That bike is not as rare, obviously, so I can always get another one. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so that's the update. Now that we're finally back on the Rush, maybe I'll film a little bit more in the garage, our reaction to the bikes and all of that. We talked a little bit what my plans are for the Rush, and you know, since I've talked about possibly selling it and all that, and that's my full explanations behind it. And as much as I still love this thing and all that, you know, like I was saying, we have kind of a better version like the Super Veloce, which I'd rather ride more, to be honest, and therefore why this is an option. It's different, for example, with the BMW, because the HP4S and the M1000 are very, very different bikes. You know, they don't have the same engine. This and the Super Veloce have the same engine, just different body pretty much. The HP4S is a full track bike, it rides completely different, you know, so there's more of a reason of why, like, some people might be like, oh, you have 2 BMWs or 2 H2s. Obviously the H2 and the H2 are my all-time favorite bikes, so neither of these are ever going to go away. But for example, with BMWs, explained why I have 2 BMWs, just because like one of them is absolutely insane and the other one is kind of more my like daily, and I spent a lot of money modifying it. But with these bikes, it's a little bit different. And plus, for content reasons, unfortunately, you guys might love the Rush, but Rush content usually doesn't perform the best. Just because I understand, it's an amazing bike, but it's more of a niche brand. So, it's totally understandable. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please drop a like, subscribe. It was a little bit of a slower video because we were just going on a chill ride. It's windy, and we didn't want to do anything crazy. At least we took the Rush out. It's been a while, so I definitely miss it. Like I said, maybe we'll take it a couple more times. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and ride safe.